Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 5 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on gratitude. Not gratitude, on writing! Sorry, I did 100 days of gratitude, and even though I'm still going to mention gratitude, I am trying to focus on my writing, which is turning out to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I really need to figure out my schedule a little bit differently, so it's going to force me to be a little bit more consistent. I have noticed for the last 4 or 5 days, whatever, that it is difficult. I do appreciate my friend commenting on the things that are non-negotiable, so I can't go to bed without doing those things. I'm noticing that I can do them, but right now it means that I'm not getting enough sleep, mostly because I have commitments too early in the afternoon, which wouldn't be a problem if I was going to bed earlier, which I could do if I'd go to work earlier. Yeah, anyway, my schedule is just like about 3 or 4 hours later than I need it to be. So I need to start 3 or 4 hours earlier, which is hard to do without losing more sleep. So yes, I'm very tired, having a hard time thinking straight, but trying to do everything and still managing to somehow do everything, which I'm really grateful for. I'm amazed the added capacity that I seem to be able to have. I still playing my games on my phone just to kind of unwind after work and after reading my scriptures and meditationals, but I don't spend nearly as much time playing them. And I don't think I've turned my TV on since I started doing this. So I'm like, I don't really miss it. It was just kind of mind numbing anyway. Watching the same shows over and over again and just listening to them in the background, more like noise and distractions. Because when I am emotional, I notice that I try to find things to avoid dealing with my feelings instead of dealing with them or focusing on them. So when I feel overwhelmed or discouraged or whatever, and I just want to give up, I um, I play my games, I watch TV, I find ways to avoid it. And today I really wanted to go to sleep. Had some negative comments from work. I mean, just one, but it's crazy how the one just kind of, those old default settings pop in. But I'm also grateful that I was able to remember all the positive things, and the one didn't have as much weight, and it didn't pull me down for as long as it has in the past, and I'm grateful that I could recognize other positive things that happened at work tonight. So I was like, yay, I know, more gratitude, not writing things. But I'm also grateful for my vision motivation board that my friend helped me to make, because as I'm sitting on my couch trying to make myself stay awake, I'm looking at my board and seeing the words like determined and don't stop and capable and willing and worthy and I'm good enough. And I was like, ah, dang it. Now I gotta stay up and do all of my stuff tonight. So I did finish reading my friend's book, so I just need to learn how to do reviews for her book. So yay, I did that today. And then my other friend who swapped books to beta read, I haven't started her beta reading book first because I had to finish the other one first. Anyway, she started mine, and not really sure how the whole Google Docs things work. I've only done that once for a class, and that was like a couple of years ago. And it was just weird to me, still kind of weird to me. So, anyway, shared books through Google Docs. That was kind of interesting. And so it's like sending me highlights and her comments and stuff. So I'm like, cool. I got to figure out how to do this same when I do hers, which I will probably start hers on Monday. And then I will probably do the reviews for my friend's book tomorrow. And then if I can get a couple other people to send me responses for my Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers, I will start actually reviewing that book and seeing what changes I can make so that I can get it ready for publication. Yay! That makes me very excited. So, for writing, I didn't do a whole lot of actual working on my books today, but I'm counting it anyway because I don't care and I'm really tired. No, I actually got into the Fall of Espinglanja, and since I finished 1 and 2, I haven't decided if chapters 1 and 2 need to be one chapter, if I need to split it a different spot, or if I should just leave it the way that it is. So I'm just leaving it for right now because I'm like, I just don't want to keep rewriting chapter one. And I think the first chapter of every book that I do seems to be like the hardest to just kind of get the flow, to get it right, to get the readers into the book, to understand what I'm saying. And I think the further into the story I get, the better my writing becomes somehow. The better the story gets, the more in depth the story gets, or whatever. So I got to chapter 3 and I started reading thinking, okay, I'm just going to make whatever changes pop into my head and I'll get through chapter 3 and that will be it for today. Well, I read chapters 3, 4, and 5 of my book, The Fall of Esplanade, and I was like, I did a pretty good job. These are chapters I already rewrote. I rewrote up through, or I have chapter 7 listed on there, so I don't know if I finished chapter 7 or if I got up to chapter 7. So I'm pretty sure I rewrote the first 6 chapters. So rewriting the first chapter and second chapter again was kind of frustrating. Like I said, I've probably done that first chapter in that book like 20 plus times. Not even kidding. But the rest of them, not so much. Probably maybe once or twice. So I know the end of that book I haven't even rewritten at all. It was just, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I probably added stuff or something. I think my sister's the only one that's actually read that all the way through. And nobody else I shared that with ever bothered to read it all the way through. It was too confusing. So yay, I'm grateful my sister read it all the way through. And I'm hoping when I finish it that she'll be willing to read it again, even though I know she's not into doing that right now, just because I want to see the difference or talk to her about the difference because she read the first version. And this is like the second one that I think makes it a lot cleaner, smoother, hopefully by the time I'm done. I don't know. So anyway, I didn't have a whole lot of revisions to do. I got to, I think it was chapter 4 or 5, and I had some stuff highlighted in gray, and I was like, oh crap, is this stuff I merged? Is this stuff I have to fix? And then I started reading it, and then I remembered that back when I was working with my mentor, because she's been busy, I don't think I've worked with her for like a year, so I don't know why I keep calling her my mentor, but anyway, hoping she can help me out a little bit here as I finish up some of this stuff if she's not too horribly busy. But she might decide to be too busy because it's NaNoWriMo, which is what happened last year. NaNoWriMo month came along and she wanted to work on her book and do that. And then a whole bunch of other crazy stuff happened and we just never got back together again. So I don't know if we're ever going to get back together again or not. I'm going to have to communicate with her. I haven't been very good at that either. So it's much me as it is her at this point. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. I was talking about my book and my mentor. Oh, and when I did revisions on stuff like that, The Fall of Esplanade, I would, because I'd send her stuff in a chapter, and then she's like, okay, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. So then when I would fix it, I would highlight the stuff I did in gray, and then I would send it back to her. And so apparently I highlighted stuff in gray and sent it back to her, and I don't know if she sent responses back to me or if she was like, oh, that's cool or whatever. So I just unhighlighted stuff so it doesn't confuse me. But it'd been a while, so I was a little confused. But anyway, I ended up reading chapters 3, 4, and 5. And I made some minor little changes while I was reading. Nothing big, nothing serious, nothing major. It was kind of like, adding an S to a word, taking the ED off of a word, changing ing DG to an ED or something. I don't know, just tiny little stuff that bothered me while I was reading it. But then it was also kind of cool because I'm like, I'm getting into my story. I'm like, this is really cool. This is a good story. And then I was like, oh yeah, I wrote this story. and I like that. It makes me feel really good. Like, hey, I'm writing something that's really good. I'm writing something that I can get into and read again. Because that's the other random thing about me is I forget what I write. Like I literally forget what I write, which I think is a gift from God. I think it's a blessing because I know when I journal and I forget what I write, I put all that stuff in there because it's my release. It's my outlet. I write it down and it's gone. It's out of my system. And there are some things that are a little bit more deep-seated and they don't just disappear when I write them. And like my story, I know the plot of my story. The plot of my story has not disappeared from my mind. But every time I replay things in my head, it's a different conversation. It turns out a little bit differently. It goes a little bit differently. And when I sit down and type stuff up and write it up, it comes out a little bit differently. And so some of the stuff that I've reread, I remember because I read it, not wrote it, read it. Just I know it's random, but it's like I wrote it and then I forgot about it and then I went back through and was reading it and I was like, oh, cool, this is cool. And then I remember what I read. I just don't remember what I wrote. It's my brain works a little bit randomly that way. So I remember the plot and the way the story goes, but I don't remember the actual words I used to describe things or um, the order things went in. So it's kind of cool for me to go back and reread it. And that's why when I leave something alone that long and I go back and reread it, I'm like, I get kind of sucked into my own story because I'm like, I know the story, I know where it's going, but then I'm like, oh, this is cool. I wrote this. This is good description. Okay, this doesn't make any sense. I gotta fix this. So it's kind of fun for me to just kind of do that. And I think I need to remember that it's kind of fun when I do the revision things because I also am always getting new ideas. And so when people make a comment or that something doesn't make sense, I'm like, oh, I can change it to this, I can change it to that. Problem is, I can always change something. And at some point, I have to stop changing and saying, okay, it's just going to have to be like this. And you're just going to have to live with it because I can't keep changing my story. I'm going to go insane and it will never get done and never get published. So at some point, it will be good enough and it will get published. It will get edited first because I know it needs to be edited. And so I think there's just like some minor stuff that my friend was sending to me. And if I look through the other stuff that my friends have sent me for Lanoia, I think it'll be minor changes. So right now, I think maybe sometime this next week, I will be sending messages and bugging people that I sent my books to as far as beta readers go to see if I get some more responses back. And if not, I'm just going to have to go off of what I've gotten and reread the book myself and hope that I can try to make some changes and then find someone that's willing to edit it for me. And then I will end up hopefully getting my friend to do the book cover for me. And then I will get my book published. So yay! I'm getting closer. I'm getting excited. But I'm not sure how far through the Fall of Esplanade I'm going to get before I start doing revisions on Lanoia and the Teachers of Power. So I don't think I'm going to worry about revisions on Lanoia until I finish doing my friend's beta reading my friend's book and making comments on her stuff. So I'm like, I still got to beta read her stuff and make comments, and I got to keep basically rewriting the Fall of Esplanade. So maybe tomorrow I'll read a few more chapters. Maybe I'll find some things to change. And then I will get to the point where I have to actually read the old stuff and try to figure out which character's point of view that part of the story has to be from, or how to take that part of the story out, or if that part of the story is important, how to incorporate the characters that are points of view characters, POV characters into those scenes if I want to keep those scenes. Because I've already had to delete several chapters and take scenes out because they're from other characters' points of view. And I'm like, it was a really good chapter. It was a really good scene. It really is not necessary for the story, and I really can't have something from every character's points of view. So sad. I think that's what they call killing your darlings. So I've already done some of that, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to doing it again, but I think if it makes my book flow and it sounds really good, but that it's hard to let go of the old stuff and remember that I've improved my writing skills and I need to go with, keep the good stuff and let go of the rest of it, or just rewrite it entirely. So it's a process, very long process. So I've got 95 more days. Yay, 95 more days of writing to discuss kind of the process and where I'm at. So I'm going to be probably bouncing between a couple different books at this point, at least 3, maybe 4 books for the next 95 days. Right now I'm on the Fall of Esplanade, but I will be doing revisions on Lanoia and the Teachers of Powers. I may do some review and revisions for God's Hand in My Life because I've had a few more insights, I think. I don't know, I need to reread it to see what I did with it. Hopefully get some insights from some people before I try to publish that one too. And then those are the 2 books I think I can get published. And then in the back of my mind, I keep thinking about the Wise One, and I'm like, I don't really want to write that one, but I probably need to. It's more of the emotional stuff to deal with and to process. I think I got through most of that with Lanoia. There wasn't a whole bunch of that because that wasn't so much of a runaway daydream. That was a more explained other stuff. And the Fall of Esplanade I already wrote once, so got through most of that. So this is just kind of the revision version. So the Wise One, I haven't quite gotten all the way through that one. The Boy from the Stone is just fun. I just like that one because it's fun. So I might work on that one too, just because it's fun. So as you can see, I've got 4 or 5 books that I'm in the middle of writing that I need to sort out. So I'm just going to kind of go with the flow, see what I feel impressed to work on. And right now, just because it's easier and it's already pulled up on my laptop, I just went with the Fall of Espanglon just so I could say I did something. So even though it's not a whole lot of writing, I still feel like it goes towards my writing because it is rereading something that I wrote to work on doing revisions and to figure out where I'm at in the story so I know what I have to do in the future. And at this point, I got to chapter 6. I didn't read chapter 6. I just got to chapter 6. And I'm like, all right, I got 1 or 2 more chapters to just kind of read. And then I'm going to have to start rewriting that book entirely. And I'm hoping this next week after tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be another tired, crazy day, that I will be able to be a little bit more consistent with my schedule. Because if I can be consistent with making myself read my scriptures and meditationals, doing my YouTube video, journaling, which I did again tonight, working on my book and doing the stuff, following through the commitments to my friends that I made about their books, then I need to do the same with my schedule for myself so that I will actually have time to sleep, and then I will feel rested, and then I can write better, be a better writer because I think more clearly when I've gotten some good sleep. And I'll still be able to work enough hours to make enough money to pay the bills and get some bonuses and things like that work is offering right now. So yay for bonuses. Christmas money, right? Christmas is coming. Gotta have Christmas money. That's what my bonuses are for. That and maybe some new tires. We'll see. Anyway, so just grateful that I was able to do something that I can consider writing, and grateful that my night is over so I can go to bed, and just grateful that I'm able to be stubborn and determined. I like the word determined better than stubborn. I'm turning my stubbornness into determination, into something positive, which I think is a good thing. And I'm also grateful that God is giving me the strength and the energy to do this, to show me that I can do this. And it makes me even more grateful that I did my 100 days of gratitude first, because it helped me to build the confidence so that I'm not stopping and quitting at day 4 or day 5 because I'm tired, or I'm just like, oh, I can't do this. And I've had those thoughts, but I'm like, nope, those thoughts don't get to win, because I can do this. And I have my lovely little vision motivation board, and just reading those, a little rainbow of all of the things, qualities that I have. And it's like, and they just pop out, just the things that I need to see, that I'm worthy, that I'm willing, that I'm determined. And I was like, this is good. I can do this, that I'm capable, that God has a divine purpose for me, that I am his daughter, that I am a precious daughter of God. Those are all things that are listed on there, that I'm creative, that I'm trying, that I'm a work in progress, all those things. They just all pop out. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And then my little don't stop quotes. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I'm grateful that I can do this. I'm grateful that I am doing this, that I can see myself doing this, and hoping that it's continuing to work. And right now I'm only in day 5, and I don't feel like I've seen a whole lot of progress, other than I've, in the process of rewriting The Fall of Espanglonja, which means, hey, I might actually get that book rewritten so it can be published. And I'm following through on some commitments to friends, trying to read their stuff, review their stuff, in exchange for them to do my stuff, so I don't feel like I'm being totally selfish and self-centered, like it's all about me and my books, because I'm like, I want to learn from them too, and I want to be able to help them, so it's kind of like a give and take. And then I don't feel guilty asking for responses and for other things, so I'm like, yay, this is progress, right? I hope. But, and it's also me following through on commitments that I not only made to myself, but that I made to other people. And I know that I can do it because I did it for 100 days before. So now I have 95 days left of writing, and I am curious to see where it will end up. I am hoping this time I will actually get a book published. Because I'm close, but I'm as close as I was, the last 60, 90 days, whatever. So maybe not 90, but at least the last 60 days. I was like, We've been this close for like 2 months. It'd be nice to like get beyond that. So maybe being more determined and focusing on writing and working on some kind of writing every day will get me through the revisions of my books and will get my books published. So here's hoping, right? Anyway, I'm grateful that I'm at least working on it or looking at it on a daily basis. So at least for the past 5 days, and if I can do it for the next 95, I'm sure more miracles will happen, and I will be able to see them and see my progress through these videos, because these videos help me to see my progress. And if it helps you watching, because if you're struggling with your own writing, maybe this will help you as well. So anyway, that's all I have for today. If you like, hit like, subscribe. You can share to someone else if you think it'll help them too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and do some writing if that's what you're into too. Thank you.